the boxing clinch is ground fighting. That's what I see. If you notice in boxing, it's a lot of movement. They move in their feet a lot. They do a lot of jabbing, crossing, uppercuts, hooks. They're not encouraged to clinch because there's no elbows and there's no knee striking. There's a lot of movement. There's no really clinching. The boxers pretty much clinch when they're getting tired. So you get one boxer that's really getting winded, and he'll just grab onto the other boxer to clinch him up so he could get some rest and take some breaths. And that's what I see what ground fighters do, and wrestlers or whoever, is that they want to force the clinch because they're getting tired, or they just don't want to fight. They don't want to fight in the range of which they're not comfortable with, which too much foot speed, too much hand speed. They can't handle it, so they want to clinch the person up and stop the person from punching them. And to prevent the hand speed and the foot speed from outdoing them. So basically, you see in boxing, every time the people clinch, the referee will step in between and break them up again and be like, let's fight. And then they get tired, they clinch again, and they'll break them up again. And that's what keeps the fight live and something entertaining. But, just people, two boxers just hugging up on each other, and you don't see any punching going on. They're just hugging at each other just because they're tired and they're resting. That's not very entertaining for the people, and it's not good for that sport. So, essentially, a lot of these ground fighters, they're not capable and confident in their ability to box. So they want to basically force the clinch, and then once they get the clinch, they want to take them down to the ground. And once you take them down to the ground, it's just clinching on the ground. You're just rubbing up on each other, hugging each other, and caressing each other, and wrapping your legs around each other in a clinch position, because you basically want to conserve energy, or you don't want them to punch you, or you don't want them to hurt you, so you draw them close to you so they can't punch you. So then it becomes like a game of of choking. Becomes more of a game of choking rather than punching. So that, to me, that's not what I promote. I rather promote people to punch each other than choke each other. And that's why I keep speaking against the MMA and the blowjob jiu-jitsu, is because they're encouraging people to choke each other rather than just stand up and punch each other and keep it a clean fight. When it gets too close, it gets too dirty, and it's ugly, and it's not even entertaining. So at least not to me. But basically, you notice the rules of boxing. You see, every time that they get too close, and then there's no real striking going on, they break them apart and they get them to fight again. And that's how I see, that it should be. We should just stick to the boxing rules, respect those rules, and just have fun with that aggressive, violent game. I don't see that it should get any more violent or aggressive than that. If they really wanted to make it more aggressive and violent, all they had to do is just take the gloves off, and that'd be really dangerous. The reason why these people have gloves on to begin with is just because it's just way too dangerous to fight without the gloves, and it ends up not even being for entertainment or for sport, but it's just a very violent encounter, a violent incident, a violent, it's just a fight. That's very brutal. Fighting is brutal. Street fighting is not something that's very pretty. It's not something that we should be proud about. And sport fighting is supposed to be. Sport fighting shouldn't even exist, but but for sport fighting to even be something that that is even considered a sport, there needs to be safety measures, and the fighters need to be protected, and less fighters need to be in the hospital. Less fighters should be injured. There should be less broken noses and less missing teeth, and just less people that are injured. That's what makes it a respectable sport in my eyes. But when there's so many injuries and so many people being in the hospital, so many people hurt, it's not a sport. You know, it's just the promotion of violence for profit, and that's not something that I promote or agree to. But essentially, you know, I'm just saying that, you know, it's safer, much safer, to train the public's psychology to just punch, punch, and just let the person, when a person hits the ground, leave them alone, rather than going down to the ground, punching them, and then choking them until they die. That's not something that I think we should be playing around with.